It says we're live.
Hello, are we live, guys? Please let us know.
We had a little problem. There's a little hiccup at WildlifeAid. Okay, we think we're live now, so somebody just say they can hear us or they can see me, because that would be really helpful. All people seeing us. Okay, we can start. I have been talking actually for the last 10 minutes to myself, so I apologise about that. It's like the BBC when they get a technical fault. Guys, sorry about that. We did have a little bit of a problem. Our sincere apologies. I blame Laurie and Abby, but it's not really their fault either, I don't think. But it certainly wasn't mine, because I don't understand it all anyway. So, lots of questions have come in already. I hope we're going to get lots of questions from you as well. I notice we already have £10 donated, so whoever gave us that, what a huge thank you and what a great start to the evening. We like to answer your questions live, but I will start from some of the ones on the paper. The first question is really good. How was your day today? By Kerry or Seri Muggeridge. Don't ask, it was a disaster. We're very busy now. We've well kicked into orphan season. We've got badger cubs, we've got fox cubs. They're all on the live cam, so you can pick them up and see them. Not pick the cubs up, I mean to say. You can pick up the live cams and watch them. So it started, and it'll now be busy for us here for about the next 6 months probably. Tempers will fray, more of my hair will fall out, but we'll keep going because it's that sort of thing. I'm trying to see if any questions are coming in live, if you guys can see anything. What was your most memorable rescue? Well, my most memorable rescue recently was our one and only Laurie Brayley. It was a very dangerous rescue. It was 60 foot up a tree. It was raining. It was windy. It was on an island. The fire brigade took one look at it and left the scene because they said nothing could be done because it was right next to a power line. And Mr. Laurie Brayley, very bravely with Tim Waitman, kitted themselves up, and up Laurie went. During the whole rescue, which was absolutely terrifying to me, and I was on terra firma on the ground, I spent the whole rescue trying to work out how I was going to ring Laurie's mum and say, Jill, got a bit of a problem. Laurie fell out of a tree. I was really scared. It was the most amazing rescue. I didn't think we were going to get the swan out. I thought it was going to be an unhappy ending, but if any of you hadn't seen it, do click on that swan rescue, which is quite recent, a couple of weeks ago now. Laurie was an absolute star, and Abby has volunteered to do the next dangerous rescue, so that should be quite fun. I think we want lots of yays to Abby doing the next rescue. That'd be really cool. What's coming in now? Who should I call if I can't look after an abandoned cat? The RSPCA won't take the cat in. We only deal with wildlife here. Sorry guys, not trying to be awkward, but if we dealt with domestics and wildlife, we'd be dead inside about a week because we'd have too many patients. So there are lots of cat protection societies, there are lots of cat kennels, there are lots of people. Just go onto your local site, go onto Google, find your local cat rescue, and I'm sure somebody would be able to help you. What else is coming on? What's the best thing to feed wild hedgehogs? I believe that mealworms are like Big Macs are to us. In the wild, hedgehogs will eat snails, they'll eat slugs, they'll eat any small invertebrate, and they're very good at scavenging. The weather's good. Obviously, with the climate change we've had, we're not getting the hard ground, we're not getting the bad weather for hedgehogs, so they've got plenty of food out there for the moment. If we got a real cold snap, which we shouldn't do now for any period of time, then you may want to put out a bit of food. But if you want to put out just a little bit, and please don't feed them too much because they'll get used to it, a little bit of dog or cat food, some small dry cat biscuits because they're good for their teeth, and it actually acts as sort of a toothpaste, if you like, a tooth cleaner. So that's what you can feed hedgehogs. Laurie and Abby have gone very quiet. I'm still waffling on, talking to myself. It's very odd when you're talking to yourself. Nobody's coming back at you. I wish we could do this live so I could hear your voices, guys. I'd be quite excited. Somebody said that I'm an absolute legend. I will pay you the £5 for saying that, I promise you. Just keep it coming in. I'm going to give a prize tonight, actually, for the very best question. So whoever we consider has given us the best question at the end of the hour, we're going to send you a prize. So Laurie will have to get back on to you and find your address. And we'll do that, because I just suddenly thought about that. What else we got on? What is your spirit animal? Bacardi. No, should I have said that? No, I shouldn't. Really shouldn't have said that. I don't know what my spirit animal is. I love wolves. I love all animals. I love bears. very hard to tell. I believe I'm a little bit of everything in there somewhere, and when I come back next time, I'd like to come back as a variety of wild animals. That would be really phenomenal. Another question from Elisa: how many animals have you saved? I've no idea. We deal with 20,000 wildlife incidents a year, so multiply that by about 38 and take off a bit for the 1 or 2 that we don't rescue. It's going to be about that sort of number. It's hundreds of thousands. Have you had a red deer problem? Quickest Steak 56 asked that question. Yeah, red deer problems. When we have a red deer problem, or we get a call at night about a red deer, I immediately put my phone on to divert, make Laurie pick it up, because if you've ever been that close to a red deer, they are very, very big, and they're pretty scary. I've only actually ever been out to 2 red deer. One was a sad story because I had to put it to sleep, but that in itself was a nightmare because it's very big, and you have to be very careful, so I've got massive antlers. And the other one, thank heavens, ran away in the opposite direction. It didn't come towards me. But for anybody local to this area, if you go into Richmond Park, they've got red deer there, they've got fallow deer there. They're much bigger than the roes and the muntjacs, which we normally have to deal with. So yes, next red deer call is Laurie's. If he can climb a 60-foot tree, he can jump onto the back of a running red deer, rodeo style. So what? Well, yes, I haven't taken a breath already. Laurie's going to let me take a breath.
You're running this. Should we just go home?
No, I just thought you'd gone very quiet, and I was very scared. And the fact we had 5 minutes at the beginning when it didn't work at all, you'd never seen Laurie with so much panic written across his face. So here we are. Laurie's going to speak. I can go quiet.
Cool. Well, we've had a couple of donations come in already, so thank you very, very much to all of you who have donated. So Leonore Ruvio has donated $16.99 in euros. No Stop has donated $2 and said thank you for all you do for the wild babies. And we've just got 200 Swedish, is it Swedish? Yeah, Swedish krona from Biscaya08 and said thank you for saving so many lives. So thank you so much, guys. Your donations really do go very, very far. Do you want to say anything? So
Laurie's started talking now, so I've stopped. So Laurie should really come and do a bit in front of the screen in a minute. He hates being in front of the screen. I do hate it. He's not wearing his WildlifeAid kit today, I'm afraid. He looks a bit sloppy and a bit scruffy. Truth of it is, one of our badger cubs pooed all down him from head to toe, and he did smell a lot, and he had to go and change because he did look disgusting. So the joy of feeding babies, they might wee or poo while you're feeding them, and it's slightly annoying. So, Laurie, do you have a question for me, or shall I read another one off this screen?
I've got loads of questions coming in already. So, KSMF has just asked, have you ever rescued a swallow or a swift?
Oh yes, do lots of those. Sometimes the baby ones, sometimes the adult ones. They are magnificent birds, massive wingspans. They're really quite stunning. We have special and specialised feeders because they're tricky things to feed. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to get all the right diet for them, which is quite tricky. I've just seen a question from George Holosky, which I'm going to ask Laurie to store for a minute because it's going to roll off my screen in a minute, but I will get back to him. Swifts, we have specialist feeders. We have a lady called Val Jones who's been feeding our swifts for many, many years. She's not well at the moment, so we'll have to send a big kiss to Val and hope she gets better soon. We've got other swift feeders as well. And the name, we've got Dawn, Val's another one, and I can't remember her name. And I'm really Leslie's brilliant. Leslie's a star. I mean, we've got 350 volunteers, and if you think I can't even remember my own name, if you work that one out, trying to remember 350 volunteer names is very tricky when you get as old as I am, guys. So tell me quickly what the question was from George.
So George has said, is there any chance of a new TV series?
We keep trying, George. I'm far too old to do it, really, but we would try and do it. But trouble is, broadcasters nowadays are getting very picky. They don't want something that's so local, which they consider we are. I don't understand how they get to their answers. We push for it, we haven't got it, which is why we've made so much of YouTube. YouTube has been fantastic for us. We need to help. We need it to monetize more because obviously the TV series had lots of viewers as well, and we got quite a lot of money from it. So honestly, guys, memberships are great, donations are great. For those of us who are old like me, just consider legacies, because that's what keeps any medium to big size charity working. It is legacies which mean everything to us, but it's a hard thing to talk about. It's quite a sad thing to talk about, but it's so important to us. Ask me another one, Laurie.
So Anto Kristen has asked, how do you keep going on and on and on and on with what you do?
Sonny, that's what Abby says to me every day. You just go on and on and on and on. I do a lot of it in my sleep nowadays. Abby, you're going to come and smile at the camera?
No.
Just for me. Abby won't smile. She's very bad. If somebody gives us 20 quid within the next 30 seconds, Abby will come and blow them a kiss on this screen.
No.
That's a promise. Yes, you're 20 quid, Abby, for animals. Otherwise, animals will die. And it'll be your fault. So how many years have you been taking care of wild animals? We've been running now since 1980. So long time. Seems like a lifetime to me. And oh God, yes it is. It is a lifetime.
40 years next week.
40 years next year. So we'll have to have a special 40th party. Anybody wants to give us a big party and fly me out there for the party? That'd be fantastic. I love doing after dinner speaking or talks. So if anybody ever wants an after dinner speaker or a talker, as long as they've got a very eclectic sense of humour and don't mind the odd swear word thrown in, people tell me it's quite amusing. Laurie usually gets a little bit scared up when I talk because he never knows what I'm going to say. And that's really because I don't know what I'm going to say either. So it's quite interesting. I say quite honestly when I start to talk, people say, what are you going to talk about? The answer is when I stand up, I have no idea what I'm going to say. But the great thing being so old and senile is when I sit down, I have no idea what I've said. So rather like George, really. He's old as well, but he's hiding in Canada with our Suzels. Dear Suzels was my PA for many years, then she left me. They all desert me. George took her away. I shouldn't like George, really. More questions. Give me some more questions, Laura.
So we've got a load more donations have come in over the past couple of minutes.
Have we had 20 quid from anyone?
No.
Zach has done £4.99 in pounds. Bettina 1984 has done 20. I believe that's Danish kroner.
Oh, we must be nearly 20 quid.
The Sabchuk has donated 20 RUB. I'm not sure what that one is, unfortunately.
I've no idea.
And Elite Honour Guard Commander has donated £5. So thank you very much.
I think it's 20 quid.
Guys.
Abby, just come and smile at the camera for 2 seconds. Come on. Abby, our newest member of the media team. She's brilliant. She's a great writer.
Bye.
There she is,
Bye.
right there. She's, easy come, easy go. That's what I say. Right, let's have some more questions.
There's loads coming in through here. Just trying to work
Concentrate
our way
on one.
back. So Beth has asked, how are things at the centre at the moment?
Well, I said earlier on, we're in orphan season now. It's starting to get busy. Tempers are already starting to get frayed, which is pretty scary because by the time 6 months has gone, tempers will be very frayed. It's very manic. You're trying to save all the animals, you're trying to feed them all, you're trying to do all the cleaning. I mean, you just have no idea how reliant we are on our volunteers. We've got over 350 volunteers. Without them, I mean, we would not exist. They come in, they clean cages, they clean up the poo, they do all the grotty jobs. And God bless them, because without them we'd be in trouble. Anybody local to here, we are still in desperate need of volunteers. We need volunteer vets and volunteer vet nurses. If they can do just one shift a week or something, that would be amazing as well, because it gives our team a break and lets us get more things done. So think about us, we are here. Let's see another credit. What's your favourite animal of all time? My favourite animal? I don't know. I really don't know. It would probably be something between, it would probably have to be a bear or a wolf, I think. I think it would have to be. I need to work with them for a longer period of time to decide which my favourite is. So if anybody wants me to come anywhere in the world and work with bears or wolves, I am your man. Send me the plane ticket, send me the Bacardi, and I'll be out shortly.
So, Marlys Baldwin has asked, have you seen any owls this year? We've actually got 2 in at the moment.
Laurie says we've got 2 in at the moment. Laurie knows these things. I have no idea. We've got a couple of tawny owls, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got 2 tawny owls. One came in with an injury to the eye. That one's doing quite well now. The other one came in with a broken wing, and that one was actually put back together by Maru, our vet, and today has just moved into our larger aviary and is flying very, very well. So hopefully that one shouldn't be here too much longer, and then it can go back to the wild.
Laurie's got verbal diarrhea like me now. Oh, Nigel Grant's just come on. Nigel Grant fundraisers for us every... Oh, look, Elite Guard one has just given us 20 quid. That means another smile, Abby. You've got to do another smile to the crew. Nigel raises money for us every day up at one of the markets in London. And he sells, not every day, every Saturday. And he sells stamps, which are brilliant. whenever he gets wildlife stamps, I steal them all and refuse to sell them. I've got a big pile of them on top of my desk because I refuse to let them go because they're so beautiful. So Nigel, you're a star as always. We look forward to you reaching £100,000 as soon as you possibly can. That'd be amazing.
So Loans Guides has said that the RUB was the Russian ruble. So thank you very much for the rubles.
There's a comment to make there. The person who's given us 20 quid, this is for the animals. It's all I got. Sorry guys, it's not a lot. 20 quid is a lot, and every single pound matters. So never think that it's too little. Every single amount helps. You know, you give us £1, that will feed a hedgehog for a day. So just think of it that way. Every pound will help an animal, and 20 quid will either help a big animal or a lot of medication for an animal, or help 20 patients just with feeding. So absolutely amazing, guys. Let's see if we can it'd be great if we could get, every time we do this, if we could get a little bit more on the live sessions, if we could get more and more money each time, I'd actually get quite excited. And you know, me excited these days is a very rare occurrence, guys.
So JNG has just said, hi Simon, when did you realise wildlife rescue was your calling?
Is it? I didn't know it was. Is that my calling, wildlife rescue? I've no idea, to be honest. I come from a farming family, so I then went and worked in London, which never made any sense to me. I've always loved animals. I mean, from a very young boy, I loved animals. I remember I used to feed the robins, and my dad got out his boxed brownie, and we would take pictures of the robin feeding on chopped up worms on the desk in the garden, which is a long time ago now. Poor worms. Perhaps we should start a worm sanctuary as well, but never mind. Ask me another one, Laurie.
Jason Mayers just said, are mute swans docile once you catch them? He's asked that to both of us.
They're docile all the time. Any swan, if it thinks it's being attacked, any animal, if it thinks it's being attacked, is going to be aggressive. Swans rear up, they're big, they can do you damage, they could do you damage with their wings unless you know how to handle them. I have never been hurt by a swan in all the years I've been doing it. I've been beaten up by a few, but it really doesn't hurt. And when you do get them, they just make, for a big bird, they just make this pathetic little squeak, which is always quite funny. So, you know, I'm a big vicious swan, and then I squeak when I get caught, like a little baby. It's rather like Laurie. If you catch Laurie, he squeaks a lot.
He has caught me in the grass though before. I did find it quite surprising.
He's being very naughty.
Had a couple of people asking, could we do any sort of collaborations with other YouTubers, so people like Matt from Vet Ranch and that lot. We have gone and approached these guys in the past, but unfortunately we've had very little interest. So if you can get contacts or get us in with anyone, we would love to work with other YouTubers. So please send us an email.
I'll work with anyone. As I've said before, for Wildlife Aid, I shouldn't say this, Laurie's going to give me one of his dirty looks, but for Wildlife Aid, I'm a total prostitute. I will do anything for the benefit of Wildlife Aid and for the animals we help. So get us working with anyone. I'll go anywhere. I'll talk to anyone. I'll fly all over the world doing talks, preferably where there's bears and wolves the more I think about it, but anywhere. We're here. We're ready to try to inspire people really to take notice of wildlife. Their habitat's decreasing. We're losing species at a rate of knots. The young lady in, is it Denmark or Sweden? What's her name on Twitter? Amazing woman. I'm going to get Abby to look it up. She's big on Twitter. She's got the most massive following. She's actually coming to the UK within a month to speak to our parliament. She is, I think she's about 15 or 16, and she's got a movement going on climate change and the fact that it will be our children who save this planet, and that is a very big thing to ask them to do. We should have done it. We have failed desperately. So to all you youngsters out there who follow her and care about wildlife, God bless you, because the planet doesn't need mankind, but wildlife needs the planet. Ask me another one, Laurie. Have we found out that young lady's name? I'm really cross I've forgotten it. She's just been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. That might give you a clue.
Lala897 has just said, where exactly is the Wildlife Aid HQ, and do you get visitors?
We are in Leatherhead in Surrey. We're just at the bottom end of the M25. We don't have visitors. We're open, obviously, to taking patients, but we don't have visitors because, you know, we've got to remember that the animals we take in are wild, they're scared of people, and we want to keep them wild because they need to go back out without being upset by man. George and Angela Warren are now having a bit of a joke together. I can't see what they're saying, but I'm sure Laurie can pick up. Yeah, so we don't have visitors, I'm afraid, because wild animals need to be kept quiet and away from us. And in fact, we don't often go into the animals unless we really have to. We have closed circuit television throughout the centre, nearly in every single pen. So we can watch the animals from a distance. Only if they're in trouble do we go in and do something about it, obviously apart from feeding them and cleaning them out.
The girl's name is Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg. Greta, I'm sure you won't be watching this because I'm far too old for you to watch, but you are an inspiration not only to me, and I'm very old, but to the young of today. I really, really, really admire you. I'd love to meet you one day, and perhaps when you come to England one day when you've got time, you can meet a poor old man like me. If anybody knows Greta, please just send her my very best wishes and my love, and so I think she's doing a great thing. Perhaps one day we can connect.
We've just had a couple more donations come in. So Elite Honour Guard Commander has donated again, so £5 this time, and has put, last donation for me is I also donate to Animal Aid, and I want to ask, what was your most heartwarming and successful rescue ever?
I've no idea. Well, look, honest answer, it's always the one I've just done, because any rescue is exciting to me because it's an animal that needed your help. And obviously any release is the best end to that rescue. So a rescue release is our favourite thing, but taking something in and getting it better, getting bat out, is whatever. So what's my best rescue ever? The one that works and the one where we get the animal back. I cannot tell you of a very special one. They're all special at the time, and a lot of them stay in my mind. So I wrote a book a long time ago called The Owl with the Golden Heart, I think it's called. And that is all about our rescues and the work we do, but from the animal's point of view. If anybody wants to buy it, it is for sale on our website, and I will sign it personally if you ask me. And then there's a lot of lies about me on my autobiography. If you want to buy that one, obviously I'll sign that one as well. But it all goes to help fund Wildlife Aid. So as I said, I'm a total prostitute for Wildlife Aid. I won't mention Suzel's at this time because I just said the word prostitute. But never mind. George, look after her. She's a good lass.
A couple more donations. So Roxy Rouge donated £5 and said, for a great cause and for everyone that helps Wildlife Aid. So thank you very much. And Experience has just donated €10. And I would also like to say a special hello to Mode, who's joined us all the way from Canada. Mode is our old
What is
lady.
thinking? What are you thinking? This Mode, she was a banana. Even she spoke in doggy language by the end. Mode was one of our media gurus. She was brilliant. She's now away in Canada. She should get in touch with George and Susan, really, if she's in Canada. Mode, take care. Lovely lady. Be good. And I shall never forget that joke of yours. I shall never forget it in my entire life. In fact, I might even write it on my tombstone.
So Animal Lover has asked, what was the first baby you got at the centre this year? And it was a squirrel, if that helps.
Sorry, I'm going to I've just got sidetracked by something else, Laurie, which is quite touching. As a child, I watched your programme and it helped me escape from the situation of abuse I was in and find my passion for helping animals. I shouldn't have read that out. You personally have been a great inspiration. Thank you so much. It's our pleasure and good luck to you. God, Helen, I can't deal with this. Oh, thank you for that. That was really touching, and it's great that people care. Go on, Laurie, off you go.
You're right, mate.
Get me past that.
Yeah?
No, I'm half left.
The question again, what was the first baby we had at the centre this year?
I've no idea. Laurie will probably tell you, because Laurie's got a photographic memory which is really very, very annoying.
No, I really don't.
He doesn't know.
The first baby we had this year was a baby grey squirrel, very closely followed by our first fox cub and our first badger cub of the year. And this morning, actually, we had our first ducklings of the year. So it has all started to pick up at the centre at the moment. So expect a lot of content coming up from those over the next couple of days / weeks.
Yeah, it's going to get busy, and we're apparently going to get another badger cub tomorrow. Apparently there's a Paulie badger cub in Essex which we're going to collect from another sanctuary. I think the great thing about wildlife hospitals is we can cooperate. I know when we get our first anything in our first fox cub or our first badger cub, it's really important that we don't have the singles. So it's really important to get another one to join it, and we sort of ring round centres. And if we need another one, they might give it to us, or we might give something to them, so they get two of something. So cooperation between wildlife centres is absolutely vital. And thank you to South Essex Hospital, to Sue, the mad Sue from Essex, has given us, she's now given us 4 badger cubs. I will put in the bill soon, Sue, for about 20,000 quid to rear them. But never mind. Right, off we go.
A couple more donations. Justin Pfeiffer's donated $2 Canadian, and Soul Cages has donated $20 Canadian and has written, "Thank you for all you do. We don't have a wildlife rescue here, which is a huge shame and embarrassment. Unfortunately, our conservation officers mainly euthanise injured wildlife."
Get me over there, let me speak to them, let me start one for you. I can make this happen. Where was it again?
It's in Canada.
Canada?
Yeah.
Susan, George, get out there, do it. Mode, go and join them.
There we go.
Yeah, off you go. We'll start Wildlife Aid Canada. I quite like that because they've got bears. I'm going to start Wildlife Aid Canada. They've got bears and wolves in Canada. And one of my bucket list things is to see the bears catching the salmon on the salmon run. I would love to see that before I die, so I can't die yet because I haven't seen it. So that'd be really brilliant. I can't believe that there must be rescue centres. There are rescue centres in Canada, I know that for a fact. So you just have to find the nearest one to you guys. But if in doubt, be like me and start one, and then regret it for the rest of your life.
You don't mean that. So Jesse has asked, do you have any tips on how to save our declining wildlife?
Yeah, you see, Laurie gets really cross now, and he shouldn't have asked me that question because he knows the answer I'm going to live, and that's just get rid of a lot of the human race. The planet is overpopulated by humans. Sorry guys, it is. Nobody's going to want to bite the bullet. Governments won't want to bite that bullet. But we can't keep going into wildlife habitat. We can't destroy their habitat. It's like somebody said just now about all these nets they're putting on hedges to stop birds nesting. It's not only that which is appalling that we would even do that, it's just the greed of property developers, but it's the fact that birds and animals alike will get stuck in them. We've already been out to our first fox stuck in a football net this year, and we will get hundreds of those, of different animals stuck in nets like that, and it will be a nightmare. We have got to somehow inspire everybody to care about wildlife, because wildlife and the food chain are what keeps us going. Laurie loves it when I start talking about the food chain. He starts to fall asleep. So I want me to get Laurie to shut up, actually.
Word of the day.
My word of the day, food chain. And IDOT. We haven't mentioned IDOT yet, but that's for another time, Laurie.
So Marlys Baldwin has just said she's been rescuing animals since she was 5 years old and found our channel and episodes when we had Wildlife SOS, and you've proved an inspiration for her to continue rescuing and volunteering at wildlife rescue centres here in Texas. So I thought you'd want to hear that one.
I refuse to take any more of those calls because they always make me cry because I'm so touched when people make comments like that. So I'm going to pass over that one very quickly before I get emotional again. And I haven't even had a drink yet either.
Sven Hook has just said, how frequently do you see bats in need of rescue? And if you do get them in, do you handle them or do you refer them to vaccinated personnel?
We get quite a few bats every year. Often the reason they come in or we go out to them is because they just got cold. I mean, bats go torpid when they're cold and they go very still. They don't move very much. And the way, actually, when we get a bat in like that, we know there's nothing wrong with it. I put it in a little sort of a little bag, a little sort of fabric bag, and I shove it down my shirt. And we drive to the rescue site. By then it's got nice and warm, and they normally just fly out the top of the bag and zoom off, because they sometimes get a bit cold. But we get a lot in. We do handle them ourselves. We give the volunteers the option to be vaccinated against rabies. There has not been rabies in this country to a member of the public. The only one case I think we had was somebody who was working on them scientifically and he got rabies, but there's no cases so far of anybody getting rabies. But we have been vaccinated and we are able to get that for nothing because we work with them.
So a couple of people said, is it possible to donate to the charity in other currencies than the British pound?
Any currency you like can be accepted via our various means. One of them's PayPal. I'm sure we've got lots of others that Laurie knows. But yes,
the
any
website
currency
is the best place to do it. Though it may seem on there that you can only donate in certain currencies. If you donate in your local currency, your bank will just automatically convert it to pounds for us. So please feel free, if you would like to donate, the website will be absolutely fine. Just put in your local currency. And thank you very much if you do.
Oh, I don't like this Sarah lady. Laurie, you should have a chair beside Simon for all the questions you answer, and Simon needs it. If Laurie touches me with emotional support, I will thump him. I will not go down that route. Laurie and Abby should be on here a little bit, actually. I tried to get them over. They're both very shy. We did get a glimpse of Abby earlier on. It was very brief, and we will get Laurie next to me in a minute because he does an awful lot. And as I say, that swan rescue, which I think is probably our most dangerous rescue in 40 years, was totally down, and because of Laurie's bravery and expertise. And thank heavens I didn't have to ring his mum and say, I'm sorry, Jill, there's been a bit of an accident.
A couple of people have asked, have you ever been injured on a rescue? And if so, what's your worst injury?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, nothing very serious. I'm still alive. Yeah, nothing that was really bad. The only injury I got, I thought might have been, is when I got stabbed by a deer antler in the forehead, and I just couldn't see anything else. There was blood all over my face. So I finished the rescue and I sat down. I said, can somebody just tell me whether this is serious or not? Because I couldn't see a thing for the blood. But it was nothing. It was a tiny little hole. It went through my skull. Couldn't find the brain because there's no brain in there, and it healed up very quickly. So with a bit of luck, it might have pushed a little bit of brain in there. That would have been quite good news.
So F, which is an interesting username, has just donated €5 and has put, I love your work and your passion. I love the way you talk with the animals. You are a great inspiration for all of us. Cheers from Italy.
Italy. Love Italy, love Italian food. I love all food. I love good food, guys. Always invite me out to dinner. Let me go and talk in some of your countries and buy me a good dinner, and I'll love every minute of it. Have you seen the new picture of the black hole? God, so many things I could say about that, but I mustn't. I did. It was quite inspiring, and apparently it's billions or millions of miles across. It would be lovely to know what was the other side of that, whether it was a parallel universe, whether we learn all sorts of things which actually I don't think we deserve to know, because I think we're too stupid as a race. But never mind. Yeah, I have seen it. Could be interesting. I'd love to come back to this planet in about 150 years' time and see what's happened to it. I think I might be very upset, or I might be inspired. Who knows? Anybody who knows the answer, please write it on a postcard and send it in to Wildlife Aid in Surrey.
Hypercube9 has just said, how much longer is it going to be until you release Laurie back to the wild?
Laurie is here. He's actually captive. We have put a noose around a certain part of his body which is quite delicate, and if he ever tries to escape that noose, it will do something really, really nasty to him. Laurie's here until he dies, and I've made sure that he's going to live until he's at least 70, so he's here for a very long time. He looks quite young now. Laurie, you better come and stand next to me, or everybody will suck. All these gorgeous women who want to see a young, handsome man.
They're not going to see it in me.
Get my ugly mug. Just come and stand here for a second, or I'll fire you. Come here, or you get fired. Come on.
This is an ultimatum.
If you can see the light set up in here, guys, hello. It's quite difficult to get here. This is Mr. Brayley, the man who climbed the tree. We were tried very hard. I did threaten him. I wanted him to Photoshop his face out of that rescue and Photoshop my face in, but for some unknown reason he refused to do it.
I did try.
But he's here, and he's a good lad, and he is part of the media team, but not only that, he's a great cameraman, and as I get older, he takes over the rescues, which my body just will not let me do. It's not that I don't want to do them, it's just I'm either not able to do it because my body decides it doesn't want to do it anymore, even though my brain says I can. But he will get used to it, and he'll get used to doing everything, and he'll love it until the day he dies, and he's not going to die yet. So that's the end of that. Laurie, go away, do stuff.
Hello,
Laurie.
Sarah. She just said hello, so hello.
Yeah.
Someone's looking at the wrong person. Poison the ogres. Look at that sexy face. That's got to be Simon.
That's you, Laurie. See, Laurie's got a sexy face. I always knew that. Okay, you're never appearing again on camera, Laurie. It takes away my glory.
There is a lot of questions coming here.
We have to run a bit later tonight because obviously we started late, which wasn't my fault. That was Laurie's fault.
Someone just asked, have you ever handled a flying fox in Australia?
Yes, I have handled lots of things. I love Australia. In fact, I think the biggest mistake we ever made in this country is when we sent all the criminals off to Australia. We sort of got them on boats to send them out to Australia. What we should have done is actually we should have sent all the good people out to Australia on the boats and left the criminals here. That would have been a far better way to go. Love Australia, love Tasmania. I just love the heat anyway, and obviously you get great animals. I always feel a bit of a wuss in the animal saviour kingdom because we don't get anything here that's that dangerous. We're not likely to die, to be honest. But you go out to some of these other countries and they're much more dangerous, the animals. I'd love to work with more of those type of animals, not because they're dangerous, but because I just love working with any wildlife. So it would be lovely to go. Have I ever been to India? No, we tried a few times on Wildlife SOS to get out there, but we could never get the filming licenses. So lots of places I'd like to go. Please invite me. I'll come. You pay, I'll come. It's very simple.
Marlys Baldwin has asked, do you have any internships for college students?
Yes, we do lots of internships, all sorts of things. We'll make positions for anybody who's interested in wildlife, because if I can just make one person convert to love wildlife, I'd do it. You do have to write in on the website because we do get inundated. We have places for vets, we have places for vet nurses, we have places for vet students, we have places for work experienced people. We do quite a few bits with the Erasmus course, which comes from abroad. But we love long-term people. If somebody can be here for 6 months or so, it means they get time to understand what we do. They learn what we do, and are a godsend to us. Alice, who's our office manager, has had some really good interns with her in the last few years. We've got a couple of people that have been over there for Lars and Rachel have been here from Holland for about the last month or so. They're brilliant. For some reason, he's been watching SOS since he was a lad. Lars, I'm sorry you've got that affliction. You will be better. We will cure you of that. But no, people love coming over here. They love learning what we do, and we love having them. Simple as that.
So Svobodova Eva has asked, have you ever met Sir David Attenborough?
No, haven't. Would like to. I think the man's a legend. I would love him to be involved with this place, but he is getting on a bit now, and he obviously has huge commitments. I'd love to go and shake his hand one day, because I think he's done a lot, as have all sorts of people in the wildlife world. The other one I really, really like is Jane Goodall. I'd love to meet her. Tremendous people. I impale into insignificance when I come against people like that. As somebody said here, thinking Simon should have been a politician, as I agree with his Australian point of view. I was actually asked once to be an MP. I was asked to sort of go down that route, and I would have been brilliant. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry being immodest, but I would have been a great MP for about 3 seconds till I told everybody to sort of go away and not bother me anymore. I don't know how they keep their cool in some of these debates. It's an art. However bad they are at being politicians, which at the moment politicians I don't have a lot of admiration for, but how they can keep their cool in a big debate that's going wrong or something's not right, I would just tell everybody to go away, and I'd say stronger than that if I wasn't on YouTube.
So MJ Adams has asked, why and how do foxes get mange?
It is a mite. It's in the ground, it hangs around, so it spreads from one animal to the other. They only, in my mind, I think they only get it when they're a bit run down, which is why I think one of the best things, if an animal's looking, it might be getting mange, just feed it for a little bit, get its immune system back up to where it should be, and then I think it wouldn't get mange, or it wouldn't get any worse. It's easily curable. I remember going to a chemist once, said, oh, you can't cure mange, it's incurable. It's exactly the same as scabies, which is what we get. And it's very curable. I've had mange several times, I hasten to add, and it's easily curable, or not, as the case may be. And if Laurie's much worse and does things badly, then I'll give him mange just for the hell of it, because it makes you itch an awful lot in places you'd rather not talk about.
A couple of people have asked, have there ever been unsuccessful rescues?
Yeah, not many. There's been a few unsuccessful rescues. We went out once to a Canada goose which had a huge piece of stick either through its neck or through its chest. We just couldn't get close enough to it before it flew, so it's still able to fly, but we ran after it, but we went back to the site the next day, but it never came back. Not many rescues are unsuccessful or uncatchable. The only ones, I suppose, the most common ones are where you get a duck with a broken leg. Ducks, however, if the leg's broken, they're still very, very good at doing a vertical takeoff with their wings, and sometimes you just can't get near them. The likelihood is they'll come back and they will maybe get weaker, but trouble is, a duck with a broken leg, it can still feed, it can still fly, so don't always get to those. But not many guys.
A couple more donations, so I'm going to butcher this name and I'm sorry. Seoxon H has donated $20 and said, completely agree that humans need to be cut back, love your fox rescues, they are my spirit animal. So thank you very much. And Claire has just donated $9.99 in US dollars and said big thank you from Philadelphia. So thank you very much to both of you.
Why does everybody lives in nice countries and we live somewhere horrible? Let's not talk about Brexit. No, let's not go down the Brexit route. That's too painful and horrible to think about.
D. Godfrey, speaking of politics, has said, if you could implement one law into the UK, what would it be?
Everybody has to volunteer at Wildlife Aid for at least 2 sessions a week. And everybody has to give us lots of money. Myra Kinghorn's one of our volunteers. She's just come in saying, volunteer, you won't regret it. It's the best thing I ever did. The people are great and the boss is quite nice as well. Oh, Kinghorn, you're old, senile, and you might have to be fired soon because I'm only quite nice. I bet you like Laurie more than me, but let's not go there.
A couple of people saying, do you have any pets? And a few more saying, what breed are your dogs? So that gives a bit of it away.
I have pets. I have a black flat coat retriever and a golden retriever. The black flat coat retriever is 7 and is a complete nutcase. He's also gargantuan, he's huge. And I have a golden retriever who's beautiful, he's 10. Sadly, he's got cancer and very bad arthritis in all his legs. So not a lot of time left, but we'll give him the best time we possibly can. And when he does die, don't expect to speak to me for at least a fortnight, guys.
A couple of people are saying, is it okay to feed foxes in your garden custard creams?
No, no, no. Watch my lips. No. Always don't overfeed in the garden anyway, because it gets a wild animal lazy because they don't have to hunt for their food, and they really need to have their wits about them. They need to be able to hunt for their food and catch their food. And if you think what they'd eat in the wild, we can eat custard creams all we like. Laurie likes custard creams.
I do like custard creams.
He does like custard creams. Anybody wants to send Laurie some custard creams, that would be very kind. But Laurie can clean his teeth every day. I'm not sure that he does, but he could do. We can clean our teeth, we can get rid of all the sugar content. Try to stick to what they'd eat in the wild, guys. It's much nicer. You're going to hear a bit of a fizzing noise. It's not me doing something I shouldn't be doing, but I'm opening a can of Coke.
You should be sponsored by Diet Coke.
Yeah, Diet Coke. I drink at least 15 cans of this a day. It's awful, but there we are. I'm just an awful person.
So Tina has said, have you ever had a case of TB in one of your badgers over the past 40 years?
In 40 years, with my hand on my heart, or my heart on my hand, no. We don't have TB in Surrey. We actually test all our badgers when they come in with their babies or adults for TB to make sure they haven't got it. We have never had one single case of TB in our badgers. And let's not talk about the badger cull, because I will lose my temper again. You could vaccinate, it would be much easier, it would be a lot cheaper, and it would mean that we're not killing our one protected mammal that we have in the UK. Now that's absurd, isn't it? Badger's the only protected mammal, and we kill it. Excellent. Jolly good. I love politicians.
Sarah's just asked, have you done any international travelling lately? Do you plan on doing any international travelling soon?
I would love to. Get me a TV series, ask me to do a talk, and I will come out and do any of those things. It cost a lot when we were filming the series, which was obviously paid for by the TV company. We could come out, it cost us nothing to do these trips, obviously, because they paid, and I loved every single second of it. I'd love to do it again, but sadly, Wildlife Aid or I do not have the budget to spend our money doing things like holidays. One doesn't do holidays, one does looking at wild animals. That's my holiday. But no plans unless we get a TV station interested, and then we'd be delighted to go for it all over again.
Anna has asked, how do you resist cuddling the baby animals?
Easy, because anybody who does, I get extremely nasty to. What you've got to think about, we are here for the simple fact to get that animal back to the wild, to take an animal which was going to die and get it back to the wild. And it's got to have its wits about it even more nowadays than it did a few years ago. So we must not get them used to being next to man. We must not get them used to man in any way, shape or form. So if you cuddle them or talk to them or get too close to them, they would lose their shyness of mankind, and we want to be terrified of mankind. Unless, of course, we could train all wild animals to kill mankind. I haven't been down that route before, but I will give this serious consideration.
So Savage Riss has donated $70 US, which is a fantastic amount. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, young man. I'm very, very, very grateful for that. We're grateful for every penny we get. As I said, £1 is as good as anything. If somebody wants to donate £1 million, you'd probably see me having a heart attack live on air. But it would be worth it for £1 million. But never mind.
So Ocarina has asked, have you ever been in grave danger because of a poisonous or very dangerous animal?
Yeah. In Australia, we were working with a guy who rescues wildlife in Australia. And we were on the trail of a copperhead, which apparently I'm told is, I think, the fourth most dangerous snake. So my crew, my lovely TV crew, who shall be nameless at this stage, said, you know, when he gets it, Simon, just pick it up and handle it, and then people can see that, you know, it's not too bad to handle it, and it's quite positive. So I picked it up, saw how to do it, but I picked it up a little bit low on the neck, not quite as tight to the head as I should have done. And it got its head round about, I don't know, nearly towards my hand. Luckily it didn't. And then my great TV crew said, well, say something, Simon, see what you think. I had no saliva in my mouth at all. I was so terrified I couldn't say a word. And we put the snake down and it slid off quite happily. But that was my most dangerous encounter with an animal because I didn't quite catch it right. It shows when you handle wildlife, you've got to know what you're doing. And, you know, if you going to pick up something that's poisonous or dangerous, just know what you're doing or speak to the experts and get them to do it for you.
So Razor's just asked, isn't there some way to establish a way for the animals that are losing their habitat to integrate into human society?
No. We need to give their habitat back. If we lose wild animals, if we lose whole chains of wildlife, we will suffer because it's the wild animals, it's the wild insects that obviously do most of our pollination here. And if we sort of integrate them into human society, whatever we do, we wouldn't have the wildlife that we need. The whole food chain would break and it would be the end of mankind, sadly, but unfortunately it would be the end of the wildlife and the invertebrates first. So please don't get animals even more close to humans. It would just be disastrous and I would have to emigrate.
A couple of people have asked, do you need a permit to rescue and rehabilitate wildlife?
No, we don't. Not in the UK. I think you do in some countries. You don't need any permits here. You should expect to be inspected by the RSPCA or some other organisations to make sure you're doing it right. And I think that actually it would be good if they license wildlife hospitals, because I do think some wildlife hospitals are maybe not quite as good as they should be. They have the right heart for it, but perhaps they lack some of the ability to do it properly. I noticed all during the evening, Alice has been our office manager, has been typing away like a demon, answering some of your questions. So Alice, thank you. It's her day off today. I'm not sure she's not in this evening actually, she's a volunteer. Not only does Alice work here, but she volunteers here in the evenings. Just shows how mad people are at Wildlife Aid. But Alice, thanks for doing that.
So Ryan Ish has just asked, have you ever rescued a UK eagle owl? We actually have a video about our experience with an eagle owl.
A few eagle owls. Big devils. I nearly said another word starting with B, but I'm not sure it'd be appreciated on YouTube. I'm sure it's fine if Ricky Gervais can get away with some of the words he does. Perhaps I should get away with that. But love them to pieces. Massive things. Really very big, huge, strong talons. And I would very much like to work with birds of prey a bit more. We do what we do. You can't choose what you're going to rescue next. So we get what needs to be got and we get it back out to the wild as quickly as we can.
So Alice says, yes, she is volunteering tonight and she's booked in 10 patients in the last hour. So it's getting very busy. We're
getting busy, guys. Alice is there booking patients. I hope she's got a donation with every single patient. Alice, if you haven't got a good donation with every patient that came in, that's going to be troublesome. Alice is our squirrel queen, I suppose. She really loves squirrels. The grey squirrel is getting some really bad, not press at the moment, but we're going to have to stop saving them come October. We are fighting absolutely tooth and nail to stop this happening. But some, again, politicians, what more can I say? I have no respect. I think I can be honest. I have no respect for any politician at the moment at all. But it's not a question to get into now. We deal with wildlife. We don't deal with ailing politicians. But the word euthanasia springs to mind. Yes, Laurie, ask me another.
So a couple of people said, how many patients arrive at the centre every day?
It varies. In the middle of the winter we could get none, but it's quite rare. And in the heat of the summer, middle of this season, we can get up to 60. And I suspect with the climate change we're getting, it could well go above 60 this year. Watch this space, will tell you if it does. So 60 patients a day, and that, remember guys, is 7 days a week. And patients come in from 9 o'clock in the morning until at least 10 or 11 at night. And then there's two idiots who are on call all night. One of them's called Simon Cowell and the other one's called Laurie Brady. Just shows how mad we are.
So Craftbox UK has donated £50, so thank you very much for that one. And
I'd probably marry someone for £50. No, that's going a bit far.
£1
million I might.
JCat has asked, how do you acquire pheasants, deer, etc. to feed to birds of prey and other animals at the centre?
We always tell our volunteers and ask people if they're local, if they see roadkill, which sadly there is all too much of. I estimate actually that over 20 million animals are killed on the roads every year now. When we first started Wildlife Aid back in 1980, I think the figure was supposed to be 5 million animals killed on the roads every year. I think that's nearer 20 million now. And if you look at the stats on animals killed in the US a year, it is mind-boggling, the numbers, absolutely mind-boggling. So we get people to bring in roadkill because, again, it's important for those animals we have here captive because they're under care, understand what they're going to eat and know what they're going to eat. Laurie and Abby are having a laugh. I'm missing the joke now, Laurie. Laurie's got the giggles.
So, Cute Bunnies has asked, do you ever get a day off? And I think I remember you taking one day off about 40 years ago.
It's my choice. Do I get a day off? Yes, of course I do if I want it. I choose not to have it. I do have sort of half the weekend off to cut my lawn and do the gardening and do the bits I need to do. But I like what I do. Sorry guys, I'm just weird. Love what I do, and I would never miss the chance of going out on a rescue, especially if it's a difficult one.
Dottie has asked, have you ever had to rescue the same individual more than once?
I'm sure we have, and Laurie might even remember, but we definitely have. And Laurie remembered. Laurie's going to come in front of the camera because I'm going to have a slurp of Coke. So we're going to swap places for 2 minutes. Laurie's going to get his minute of glory, or his 2 minutes of glory. Here we go. I'm going to stand up. Off I go.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
And the boss, Simon, you're fired.
Great.
So the one that I remember, we went out to a fox that was tangled up in a football net, and we were there, and there was something about it that seemed quite familiar. And as we cut it out, we realised it was the same fox that we'd released there the week before that had been involved in an RTA. So it was an RTA brought in, sent back out, and then tangled up in football netting, and we cut it free and sent it away again. We didn't see it a third time, as far as I remember.
Keep going, Laurie. You're doing terribly well.
Doing more questions?
Terribly well. Yeah, answer more questions. Go on.
Okay, let's have a look. See what sort of questions are coming in here. Do you have any problems with dogs hurting wild animals? Yes, unfortunately we do. We get a lot of deer and birds and stuff like that are attacked by dogs. Unfortunately, usually the injuries that are received by the animal are horrific. They can do some really, really bad injuries, but we do try our best to sort of stitch it all back up and send it all back to the wild, but unfortunately there are some of those that don't make it, unfortunately. Having a look through here, a lot of laughing comments at the moment. What is one of the things you've had to repeat to the public towards wild animal safety the most often? To be honest, and it's not what you'd expect, but the biggest thing we've got to say is leave the animal alone. Especially at this time of year when we're in orphan season, we get a lot of people that will see a fox cub or a badger cub or a baby bird and would immediately think that it's in need of rescue or in need of any sort of treatment. And unfortunately, often that isn't actually the case. Fox mothers will leave the cubs for a number of hours to go off and hunt. That's fairly normal. Same thing with badgers. Deer are often left out on their own. The mum's watching, but watching from afar, and you won't be able to see. And baby birds, they go through a process called branching when they're fledging, where they will leave the nest and hop around on the floor. The parents are still feeding them, but they're not actively sort of next to them all the time. And we get quite a lot of cases where animals are brought in with those, so that's probably the thing we've got to say the most. Scrolling down. How many baby animals do you have in care? We have quite a lot at the moment. So we got 2 ducklings in today. We have 5 badger cubs, soon to be 6 by the end of the week. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well over 10 fox cubs in at the moment. Baby squirrels. We've got two robins, 2 hatchling robins, a couple of fledgling robins. Even more than that.
Blackbirds.
A couple of fledgling blackbirds as well. It's starting to pick up, and I'd say within the next couple of weeks we will barely have a cage free, unfortunately. Sarah, how long have I been filming for WAF? So I started at WAF as a volunteer, quite a few years ago now, when I was at university, and got into filming here as an intern about 3.5 years ago. And then Maud, our old camera lady, sadly left, and I was made the sole manager of the WAF media section, which was terrifying because I'd never done a video before. But yeah, about 3 years I've been doing the video side of WAF.
No, I'm going to bed now, Laurie. You obviously don't need me anymore. I've obviously
come on, you can drag me in. I'll drag you in. Come on.
Don't cuddle me, Laurie. I will not be touched.
I'm not a cuddler either. You remember that?
No, I do remember that. Right, we're here. I'm squatting down against the radiator. I'm too old to do this. Really.
There you go. So Alice has just said we've got well over 90 orphaned animals in at the moment, which is worrying.
It's a start. It is the beginning. I mean, it gets busy. I suppose our busiest time will be probably May, June, and it will stay busy until September, even October. In fact, in the previous years, by the end of October, you always reckon that December and January are going to be absolutely dead, and you can do all the refurbishment that you need to do at the centre. Last 2 years, we've had no quiet period at all, so refurbishments gets very well put back. I mean, again, we always need maintenance guys. We need stuff painting, we need stuff mending, and we never have enough of those. So you don't have to work with animals if you've got any skills at all, from really cementing to painting to gardening to hedge cutting to whatever. We need help. So anything you can do for us would be absolutely great. And I was going to say something else, but being old, I've forgotten what it was now. I'm sure it's about money, because I only ever talk about money because it's so important to keep us going. And we've got the new centre to build yet. If anybody's had a look at that, I think it's on our website to a degree, isn't it? It's on our website now, the new centre?
Not yet.
Not yet. So
I'm waiting to go live.
We're waiting to go live, guys.
The plans for the new centre will be going live shortly, but for now we're just sort of making sure that we've got everything in place before we release it. But we do have exciting news, and it is on its way.
We just need £10 million to build it. I think I can give that game away. So if anybody's got any wealthy friends, to be honest, we need a high net worth individual who has a charitable trust or whatever and loves wildlife and wants to leave a legacy. Because if he wants to call it by his name or whatever he wants to call it, I don't give a monkeys if we get it built, but it will be a learning place for children to be inspired about nature. It will be a learning place for vets to learn to deal with wildlife, and there'll be courses, CPD courses, all sorts of courses, just to show people the importance of having an intact food chain and having a wildlife and habitat for wildlife. So how are we doing?
A couple of people are asking what's something that they can do for animals, and there's a whole load of different things that we can do just to make our gardens and our spaces a bit more wildlife friendly. So things like hedgehog holes. If you put a hole that's only about this sort of height,
15 centimetres.
15 centimetres. In your fence right at the bottom, it will help hedgehogs move throughout the night. A hedgehog will cover well over a mile in the evening. And they need to find food and mates and everything like that. And unfortunately, we're boxing them in a lot now, and it's becoming very, very difficult for them to sort of find the space that they need. So a small hole in your fence will do wonders. Building a wildlife pond is another one. Just make sure it has a ramp in it, because we get a lot of animals stuck in there. Limiting the use of netting, raising up your football nets about a foot each night, just to allow animals access underneath. We actually have a whole load of tips on our website about how to make your garden wildlife friendly, so I'd recommend having a look at that one.
Laurie didn't half talk a lot, doesn't he? I mean, he's worse than me. I thought I was bad, but he goes on and on and on. So many questions, lots of questions from Nigel Grant. Sorry we couldn't get to them all, guys. Just keep on with the questions, and we will work out the most interesting question we've had, and we will give a prize. We'll have to get back to you, basically, I guess, via YouTube. unless you give us all your email addresses. It'd be great to get your email addresses, really, because then we could send you information about the centre and all sorts of things. Nigel's saying sorry for the difficult questions. That's obviously something to do with Alice.
That's fine. That's fine. Alice is talking with that one.
Alice is beavering away on a computer up there. Yeah. She should be down here. We'll have to get Alice down here next time.
She would kill you.
She will kill me, but she deserves to be in sight sometimes. She does a great job for us all.
So unfortunately, we've got the last couple of minutes now, guys, because Simon actually has to go to Heathrow Airport to pick up his partner in the next couple of minutes. So we'll have to wrap it up very soon. So please get your last couple of questions in. We'll only be on for a couple more minutes.
Come on, let's have some really great questions, guys. Keep the money coming, because it's all about the money insofar as then we can do more help for the wildlife, and that's what we're all about. I want to see a great question coming.
Just having a look. How do you tell a domestic and a wild rabbit apart?
A domestic rabbit comes towards you when you go, "Come here, bunny," and the wild rabbit legs it at great speed across the field.
There are certain sort of colour differences, anatomical differences, size differences that you can use to tell the difference between the two. Wild rabbits, once you sort of learn what to look for, are quite easy to tell apart. We have had domestic rabbits in here, but none of them that look anything like our wild species. We have a couple of wild rabbits in at the moment, but they're with Angela, our rabbit feeder, who does an incredible job. So thank you very much to her. You got any more? So €5 from Lenia Lucy. Want to help more with the foxes, not only donate but live in Germany. Thank you very, very much. That will do a massive amount. We'll make sure it goes to the foxes.
Guys, as always, your stars. Do come up with, if you'd like us to change the format of this 1 hour we do, whether you want to make it 5 hours, it was great. I'll do my half an hour and Laurie can do 4.5 hours, that's fine. Anything you want, really just ask us, because we will do anything. We'll do different things with the videos. We could do tours around the centre. You tell us what you want and we will watch. I mean, we do look at your comments all the time and we are happy to do them where and when we can. But it's because of your help, your generosity to us, that we can keep doing what we do. So if you've got ideas or want us to change the format of things, please give us your suggestions. If I like them, I'll do them, and if I won't, I should just ignore it, rather like I handle Laurie. If I like what he says, I listen to him. If I don't, I just pretend to be asleep. Works for me. And everybody wants you to do these live forecasts from now on. So
no, they don't. No one said that.
I think you and Abby confront the next 3 or 4. Have you ever rescued a crab? No. Haven't. Well, I have at the seaside, but I never brought one back to the centre.
No. Yeah, the seaside, we've done a few.
I rescued a starfish that 3 or 4 years ago when I did go on holiday. Somebody pulled it out of the ocean, left it on the beach, and I went up the wall, and I took it back to the ocean and put it in, and it just dawdled away, which is really quite cool. So, guys, I think we're probably nearly there. Laurie will tell me there, because she gets very cross after we've done an hour. Sorry we were late, but that was Laurie's fault. And we'll come back. And what are we doing? Every month? Every month. It's not very much, is it? If you want it once a week, tell us, and we'll do that.
Once every 2 weeks.
Once every 2, whatever. You tell us what you want, we'll be there. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for caring, which is the most important thing. And thank you for loving our wildlife.
And thank you very much for all your questions. If we haven't got to them at this point, we will be making a note of them, and we'll try and get them answered in the next one. So please make sure you watch the next one. But please also make sure that you ask them on the next one as well, because as you can probably see, the chat goes very quickly and we lose track of some of them. So apologies if we haven't got to you. I just want to give one final shout out to a couple of donations that have come in. So Sammy Joe 1985 donated £5. Thank you so much for that. And Leah Van Son has donated €5.49. So thank you very much. Unfortunately, we do need to go now. But thank you very much for tuning in. And we shall see you in the main videos. The next one's coming up on Friday. And in this next one, we'll see you in about a month. So thank you very much.
As I say, it's good night from him and good night from me.
Have a good one.